It's October 27th, 2005, and I'm trying to make a unique portrait of legendary boxing promoter Don King. This is From the Vault. Hey, welcome back. Thanks so much for joining me. I really appreciate you being here. I'm photographer David Bergman, and I've got an archive of photographs that go back 30 years in my professional career. What I'm doing on this show each week is pulling one of those images out of the vault and telling the behind-the-scenes story of how that photo shoot came to be, and maybe show you some pictures you haven't seen as well. I hope you're enjoying this show. Please go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel down below. Hit the little bell icon. You'll be notified as soon as new shows come out each week. And then to support this show, what I'm doing is selling fine art prints for a limited time. I'm going to be offering images of the pictures that I talk about on this show. I'm hand signing them, printing them on really nice gallery quality matte paper. So I hope you'll check those out and buy a few at davidbergmanphoto.com. Thanks so much for that. All right. This week we're going back to 2005. I was working for Sports Illustrated on a feature story about promoter Don King, boxing promoter Don King. You probably know who he is. He's a controversial, legendary boxing promoter. Of course, he goes way back to the Thrilla in Manila, you know, all that work with Muhammad Ali, and then of course Mike Tyson in the heyday, and I believe he's still doing it today. He is, you know, when you think boxing, you immediately think about Don King. He's certainly been around a very long time. Now, the magazine was actually letting me spend sort of a day in the life with him, which was very interesting and cool. He's quite a character. But what we did was the first thing at night, I met him the evening before another event that he was going to do a portrait. And what we did was we shut down a restaurant in the hotel where he was staying in Midtown Manhattan, actually just a few blocks from where my studio is, right up the street here. And I set up my lighting and my backdrop and basically created a photo studio, made it super convenient for him so that he would just have to come downstairs to do that. So basically the way the shoot started was, if you know anything about Don King, if you've ever seen him in any kind of media appearance, he has his look. He has his thing. He's very media savvy. He likes to portray himself this way. He's got his American flags and that big smile on his face, and he says, "Only in America." That's his thing, only in America. And he does that all the time on video. He does that in pictures, waving the flags, the big smile. So I have to make that picture, of course. But if you know anything about me, you know that I'm always trying to make pictures that are a bit unique, a bit different from what everybody else is doing. Otherwise, what's the point in doing the photo shoot? So I had him put the flags down. And even before that, when I was doing the shoot with the flags, I was trying to get him to loosen up a little bit and give me some different looks. So I'd put the camera down, he'd put the flags down for a second, and then, I'd talk to him. He would be somewhat, normal, casual conversation. And then as soon as I pick up the camera, almost trying to catch him a little bit off guard, as soon as I'd pick up the camera, the flags would come up, "Only in America." Like he wouldn't let me get anything else besides that one look. So I did that, but then eventually I got him to put those down. And I made sort of a little bit of a profile picture because, of course, the thing that he's really known for visually is that hair. I mean, he's got that hair that sticks straight up. I had it lit so that there was a hair light on him, really bringing out the separation between the top of the hair and the background. And I really wanted to accentuate that because that really is what he's known for. So, but still, he just had that face, that same exact face that he has in every image. So what else can I do? Well, at this point, what I did was I put down my regular lens that I was using, and I put on what's called a Lens Baby. And this company's still around. They make a lot of great lenses. And the original one, I believe, is the one I was using for this shoot. It's a bit of a risk because it's kind of a plastic lens that you can bend and tilt it a little bit. And it's going to give you these weird effects where basically the center of the frame or wherever you want is going to be sharp, and then the rest of it is going to sort of go out of focus in a way that you don't normally see. So I kind of felt like using a lens and creating this effect that was just a little off would be good for this portrait of this really interesting character named Don King. So if I'm not going to get him to change his facial expression, then I might as well try to do something optically to make it a little bit different. So the magazine has some options. You can't just come back with one type of picture and say, that's it, that's what you have to use. So I made this straight on shot of him where you can see the focus, how the lower part of the frame starts to get out of focus, and even the top part of his hair starts to get out of focus in ways that it's a bit subtle. If you're not really paying attention, something just looks a little different about it. But he's still giving me that same face. So what can I do? Well, I figured I'd do another profile again, but more of a 90-degree turn. So I asked him nicely, "Oh, Mr. King, can you just give me a turn a little bit?" "Oh yeah, a little bit more," until I got him in that exact profile. He's still making that face regardless of which direction he's facing. But this is a bit more interesting with the hair. And then I just said, "Can you just keep turning, just keep going?" And I think he chuckled a little bit because he knew what I was doing. And then when he got completely with his back to me, that's when I made this picture. And I think he was still making the same face. He probably was still making that big smile. But this is my favorite shot from this shoot. And I mean, this is my favorite kind of portrait, is one where you know who it is without seeing their face. And if you know who Don King is, then you know this is him, just because of the way that hair is. Nobody else looks like that, and you absolutely know who this is. So I was really happy to make that image, just something different, something unique. And again, I want to give my clients, in this case Sports Illustrated, I want to give them as many options as I can so they can choose what they want to run with the story. So then before I left, he wears a lot of bling. He's got a lot of jewelry. He's got that one large chain that says Don on it. So I had him put that down for me on one of the American flags and just made a quick sort of still life, just maybe as a secondary kind of photograph to have. So then the next day I met him in the morning in Midtown, and he came out ready to go with his flags, only in America. And it was kind of a cool day. So he was, wearing the jacket and the whole thing. But I was able to just shoot anything I wanted to. So once he was in the car, we actually rode in the limo together. I wanted to show that it was a limo, so you can have the sunroof there. I believe it was closed, but you can see that it's obviously a limo. And where he was headed actually was to a Friars Club roast of him. So if you don't know what these roasts are, you may have seen Comedy Central is still doing these kinds of roasts. They basically are honoring somebody, but they're also going to make fun of them at the same time. And he was a good sport about it. So this was the day of that Friars Club roast. And again, I'm with him, so I got to just go wherever he went and be sort of the fly on the wall. So, when he's sitting backstage, it was one of the few moments where I really caught him in a genuine moment. It's not the most interesting thing, but at least, he's always kind of working. He's always reading, obviously a smart guy. So just backstage, he's sitting reading the paper. And then they had a press conference. And one thing I always like to teach young photographers, if you see a group of photographers together, you want to go somewhere else. So I never want to shoot that same angle as all the other photographers. And because I have the access that I have in this case, I can actually get in a position where I can make a picture of him being photographed by the gallery of photographers. And yes, I'm courteous to my fellow photographers. I stayed out of the way most of the time. And then at the very end, I just popped in there to make that picture. So I wasn't in their frame. So sorry guys for that 5 seconds that I did that. But I'm conscious of that because I know that they have a job to do as well. Many of these guys and girls are friends of mine, so I don't want to block anything they do. So then the actual Friars Club roast, I believe, looking at this room, I believe it was at the Hilton in Midtown, 55th and 6th, I think it's where that is, just down the street. And it's obviously a huge event. And actually the most interesting part of this event was that the host of this roast was none other than future President Donald J. Trump, right? So Don King and Don Trump. And what a cast of characters these two are. They're both really unique people. And Trump was just laying it on thick as everybody was. But that's kind of, that kind of when you're getting into this, that's how it's going to go. But it was just kind of interesting to be backstage with them as they interacted because they are just both such unique characters, very strong personalities. And it was a fun afternoon. So I got to spend basically almost 24 hours with him, with the portrait at night and then through midday the next day. And then when the magazine came out, the story didn't actually run for a few months. I believe it was the following February that it came out. They actually ran, I was very happy, they ran that picture of his hair from the back. They cropped it into horizontal to fit the magazine. They ran it across 2 pages. I was very, very happy about that, to see it when it finally came out. So you never really know what the client is going to want. how they're going to run it, exactly what the story is about. So you just want to give as many options as you can. So that's what I feel like I did on this shoot. They ran some of the other pictures inside the story, but I was really happy about that one on the front. So if you like this picture, I think it'd look great on your wall. Like I said, I am making 11 by 14 fine art prints available. You can check that out at davidbergmanphoto.com, along with other pictures from this series. I've got a Drew Brees Super Bowl cover up there, Tom Brady running for a touchdown, Drew Carey and the Improv All-Stars. There's really some interesting things up there. I hope you'll go back and watch those shows and pick up a couple prints. So that's how this Don King portrait came to be. I appreciate you joining me. Thanks so much. I hope you'll come back every week. I'm doing this show, planning for these to come out every Wednesday afternoon, 2 p.m. Eastern. So hopefully you're a subscriber and you'll get all of those notifications as well. Thanks very much. I'll see you back here next week from the vault.